Alrighty, it is December 18th of 2019, and in case you guys did not know, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker released into theaters today around the world in different countries, and a lot of people have been expressing their honest thoughts and their opinions about this movie on social media, and we will be going over the official critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future content. Now, the one thing about this, in case you guys did not know, just a couple of days ago, the premiere actually happened for Episode 9 over in Los Angeles on the night of December 16th. A lot of critics were able to express their first reactions on social media, both good and bad. It was divided. A lot of the critics had, different, ideas and different reviews, if you will, and different honest thoughts. And so now that the actual critic scores on Rotten Tomatoes have gone up, it tells us a telltale sign of the way things are going to go. So as of right now, we will be going over the critic score, which, by the way, stands only at 58%. Now, there's no audience score as of yet. That's not going to be released until tomorrow. But as far as the critic score so far, it stands at 58% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, the thing about this is that with The Last Jedi, the Rotten Tomatoes score was never this low at first. It was actually way higher than that at first, where it first popped up. And now we're seeing it at a very low point. So I'm going to be quite intrigued to see exactly whether or not this tomato score keeps going up and up and up, or if it's going to start to go down eventually. Because the more reviews that come in and the more, critic scores that come in, it's going to either go up or down. That's just how Rotten Tomatoes works. So this is a telltale sign about the movie. We've gone over the leaks, we've gone over the spoilers for a couple of weeks now and a couple of months as well. And a lot of fans have been expressing a lot of different opinions on specific decisions by Disney and Lucasfilm. Once again, like I say, this movie was very rushed. We do know that because they actually reshot 30% of the movie. We're talking about them reshooting the movie during the months of August, September, and October, where a lot of changes and adjustments were made to the film in order to give the fans a different tone for the movie. Basically, Disney wanted to make this film cater to the general audience and to kind of just make it have a different tone. That was all done by Kathleen Kennedy. That was all her idea, to tell you the truth. So, now that the Rotten Tomatoes score is out, 58%, we're going to get that audience score tomorrow, which we will be going over. By the way, I will be going over all the scores as they unfold and as they update, so keep an eye open for that as well. Now, about this film and about all of the different decisions that they made, like I say, a lot of reviewers are saying that they did not like this movie. A lot of reviewers, by the way, that loved The Last Jedi. Now, keep in mind, I know that there are a lot of positive reviews out there and a lot of positive reactions. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to ignore that. That does exist. But at the same exact time, there are also a lot of bad reviews and bad reactions from critics about this movie, how it was put together, how things are executed in the film, how things are paced in the movie, and how basically the switching of directors is actually quite apparent at times in the film. So, this movie is a big deal to Disney and Lucasfilm because this is obviously the end of this sequel trilogy. It marks the very end of the entire Skywalker saga. And let me just say that there are a lot of decisions that were made in this film that are now considered to be official that a lot of fans are really disliking and not liking at all. Like, they're really having a big problem with that. I'm not going to go into spoilers, obviously, in a video like this where we're talking about the scores, but as far as everything else goes, when we look at The Rise of Skywalker, the one thing I do want to point out here is that throughout all the different reshoots, they actually deleted so many scenes that were related to characters like Luke, Palpatine, Rey, all the other characters, like the core characters, in order to change the tone of the movie. Now, changing the tone of the movie, I think, is bad because when you reshoot 30% of film and you kind of reshoot it, you're going to notice that shift in the tone, at least in the beginning, the middle, or the end of the movie. And I think that's exactly why a lot of fans are expressing that you can see the seams of, the changes in the reshoots and everything around those lines. You can see the seams of that. So a lot of reshoots were done. They wanted to reduce Luke Skywalker's screen time down to only like 10 minutes or less than that, and Palpatine's screen time down to only 12 minutes. which I think is very, much of a letdown, the fact that they're not giving us as much Palpatine and Luke. I won't go further into it than that. Now, the other thing about this film, right? A lot of themes were done by John Williams as well, to which a lot of his themes were lost in the process of deleting many scenes. In fact, a lot of themes that were done for the Skywalkers were deleted for this movie, and a lot of fans were pretty much, rather upset about that decision. I've actually been reading all the reviews, for those who actually saw them in other countries around the world, and a lot of people are just not liking this movie from what I've actually seen. There are good reviews out there, I'm not going to deny that, but there are a lot of bad reviews out there. There's a lot of people that are very disappointed with this movie. A lot of critics, even on YouTube and on the internet, are expressing similar, aspects of what they did not like in the movie. And that really is a telltale sign, like I said before, of where things are going to go. Again, 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, alright, it just dipped now to 57%. I just wanted to give you guys that little update. So it's now down to 57% on Rotten Tomatoes critic score. I just took a look at it once more. I just got like a little notification. And when we look at this, guys, like I say, when we look at episode 9 here, this movie really does need to deliver to the fans. And based on what they have done, all the decisions that they have made in this movie, like I've said before in the past, based on everything related on Palpatine, Rey, Kylo, Luke, all those core characters, they didn't really handle them the way that they should have for this film, and it could have been done in a different light. Now, these Rotten Tomatoes scores that are going to pop up tomorrow are going to give us the true answer, where you look at the balance between the critic score and the audience score. It's kind of funny because a lot of times when the critic score is down, I'm not saying it's going to happen for this, but a lot of times when the critic score goes down, the audience score usually goes up in a very strange way. That's usually what happens. But if it is balanced, where it's both low, that's going to be a very bad sign about this movie by, of course, both the critics and the audience scores telling us essentially that, the film doesn't really deliver and it feels rushed. A lot of critics keep saying that it feels rushed and feels convoluted, as if it felt like it was 9 movies in one. And I think that all has to do with how much stuff they were trying to cram into this movie. Originally, this movie was 4 hours and change before they really deleted tons of scenes and decided to cram different aspects of the film into the movie. So the fact that they did that, it gives off a feeling of this movie being very much convoluted from what they have described. And like I've always said before in the past with episode 9, this movie, like I've said, it really does determine the future of the franchise, where things are going to stand. Is it going to make money? Obviously, yes, it's going to make money. It's going to probably do decent at the box office. Do I think it's going to do as well as The Last Jedi? I have a funny feeling it's not going to make as much as The Last Jedi in its total, right? In its total. I feel like it's going to dip, and a lot of projections out there even stated that it would be lower than The Last Jedi's earnings, so keep an eye open for that. The last thing I just want to touch on here is that it's very unfortunate of where Disney Star Wars, has gone, or where Star Wars has gone in general, to the point where we see ratings like this on Rotten Tomatoes, either for critics or audiences, and it's very much surreal to see Star Wars getting ratings like this. Again, I'm not surprised after The Last Jedi, because The Last Jedi, to me at least, was a terrible film. I did not like it at all in any way, shape, or form. There was nothing that I loved about that movie, and I've expressed my feelings about that in a separate post if you guys want to check it out. But this movie, it seems like that the scores are beginning to get lower and lower. I got another update here. It went down to 56% on the critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. Might go up again, so just keep an eye open for that. It keeps going a little up and down. It's like it's trying to reach 60, but it's not. So, yeah, I just wanted to point out the Rotten Tomatoes score for now, and I will be updating it as it goes along for you guys, and we will actually be updating everything related to The Rise of Skywalker, so stay tuned for today, guys. So, anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.